let's see if that has done anything. Or welcome back to Living with a Classic, and here is my latest project car, my 1975 Jaguar XJ-S, and we're going to try and get quite a bit done today because if everything goes to plan, next weekend it's supposed to be good weather, so we should take this thing to the body shop, or my friend who does body work and has his own shop, so sort of like I do. And well, we can't really have snow when we drive because he has a steep hill up to where he lives, and the tow truck he has is not going to make it up the hill if it's all icy. But next weekend is supposed to be nice and sunny, also because we're going to remove the front and rear screen. I don't want to, even though the inside car is pretty rusted out, we're going to replace the floors. It'd be nice to get it there while it's not raining. So that means I have quite a bit to do. I want to remove the interior. We're going to just leave the steering wheel, pedals of course, and the gear selector so it can move under its own power. But the center console and the dash is going to go out, probably all the instruments as well. Just so that they're out of the way when there's welding being done, and also so we can have a look at the bulkhead behind it, make sure that is in good condition. Headliner's going to go, also so it's not in the way, but also I'm going to replace it, so we'll take that out. Rear screen needs to go because the roof is going to be painted. There's some cracking in the paint up there and down here, so we'll do the roof. Flying buttresses down to here, and there's some bubbling in the paint around the rear screen. Common issues on this car, so the rear screen is going to go out because we'll probably find some rust there. We're going to take this front screen out as well because the paint is a little bit peeling around there, even though all that will be covered up by the stainless. We'll take it out anyways because the seal is in really bad shape and leaking. So that's what I'm going to try to do today. We may end up doing small things while it's there because I will go with my friend to the body shops to help him get the car in there, and we'll try and do a video when we're at the body shops. That will be a future video going over the car, seeing what he thinks of it and if he finds any more rust than I have already found. For those of you who are new or who haven't watched the previous videos, or all of them, or don't remember, just want to show you what I mean about the bubbling behind the rear window you see here. So my guess is we're going to find rust here, so that's why we're going to remove that. Around the front it's not that bad, it's really just the paint peeling off, and if I wasn't doing the rest of it I would just sand this down and brush paint that or spray paint it myself, because that gets covered by a wide piece of trim here, so no one's ever going to see that. But because there's some cracking here in the roof, we'll just do all of this as once, flying buttresses, and then take the bubbles out here as well, because that is really the only bad paint on the car, except there's one little bubble right there and one level right there, so I think we'll do some spot repairs on those, but the rest of the paint is really nice. Most of the interior is out, as you may know, but we'll take out the center console, take out the dash. I've never removed one of these early dashes. That will be probably a fun learning experience as well. And headliner is, well, it's already sort of falling out, but we'll take that out. And then I'm going to, of course, order some new fabric for that a little bit later. Oh, see, it's very dark for you guys. But we'll set some lights in here so you guys can see. And I think we'll tackle the center console first, the dash, and then we'll do the screens. Alright, got some screwdrivers, and let's try and do this. I also have the most important thing, I have a phone, so I can take some pictures to document wiring. I think that's really the easiest way. So this is already loose, and we have the window switches here, so we'll take a couple of different angles of that. They don't work at the moment, so we don't know if it is correct or not, but all of that taken pictures of. Now we can just remove it. I'm just going to double check that there isn't a big multi-cable somewhere. You know, I'm actually going to lay this to the side because there could be, if it's like a Series 2, really not sitting well, there we go. If it's like a Series 2 XJ or Series 3, there could be some big plugs up here. Maybe I can just unplug all of that, try and keep it all together. There we go. Leave a little parts pile inside the door here. Get these out. Which I'm guessing are going to be very, very stuck. Not too bad. If you're wondering, if you don't have a special tool for this, just 2 screwdrivers and you can get these out, no problem at all. Go. This panel is also incorrect for this car, for a later XJ-S. Oh, I think we'll just put these on here to not lose them. This whole thing should be loose now. The biggest problem is just not having a good working position with no seats in here, but let's see. Alright, I decided to go for a new tactic, and that is just to try and not sit in the car. Let's see if it works any better. There is a relay here, which I am guessing is for probably power to electric windows or something. I actually don't really know. I'm going to try and remove it. Or yeah, we'll take a picture of that. It actually has a multi-plug on it, along with 2 single plugs. So once again, smartphone to the rescue. Okay, now all of this should be able to get moved to the side a bit. We'll try and trace this wiring. Up here, and yes, there's a big multi-plug. There we go. Or there's 2 of them. Seems to be another plug over here. There we go. That was a lot more difficult than it should have been, but we got this all apart as one unit. So I just sort of pried this out, the center finger, because it was already out on this side. I just wanted to make sure that it was alright, because at least on the XJs, it's good to disconnect these. I'll probably do that in a little bit, but at least I know I could get that out. And other good news, look at the parts over here. Just picked up a little plastic thing to put things in. I found all the pieces missing from the hazard switch. They're all in good condition, so I can rebuild that switch. Next, what I know from removing XJ-S dashes is that the instruments sort of go first. You got 2 screws here, 1 screw up here, and then there are these little plastic covers up in the corners, and there's some screws behind those. So that's where I'm at the moment. And you may be wondering, okay, why are you removing all of this to do the welding? Well, for a couple of reasons. One is, this is a pre-HE. It's like impossible to find interior parts for it. So I don't want, even, doesn't matter how careful, how much I trust my welder, anything can happen when you weld, and I don't want a tiny little drop in here to melt this vinyl, because this dash is not cracked. It's in very good condition. And I think it would be a good time to inspect all the wiring, all the connections, because I'd rather do that now than when the car is on the road and I want to use it. And, you know, clean out the instruments, replace all the bulbs and all that. And yeah, I'm going to try and either do something about the screws, plate them all, or paint them or something, because they're all kind of rusty looking and not the nicest. But we'll see. Let's see, okay. Short little stubby screwdriver is the answer. While I'm sitting here, I'm just really starting to imagine what it'd be like to drive one of these. I've never driven a pre-Jaguar XJ-S, but when it comes to XJ12s, I do prefer my Series 2 pre-AG28 Series 3. I just think the engine runs very, very nicely. This will be very fun. I do have a good friend who has a red one just like this one. Same model, same year, just a couple numbers later in serial numbers, and I don't know, maybe I can see if I can drive his sometime. That'd be cool. Okay, we got all the warning lights out. That will also be nice just to clean them up. And we got a lot of bulbs in here that look burned or black, so that will be good also. Now we got the plastic trim here on the sides, which has this felt on it, which we'll try and see if I can find some new one. Otherwise we'll re-glue that on there, make it look nice. Something just fell out. Don't think that belongs there, but anyways. Okay, now this should start to be loose at least, but it is very brittle old plastic. So, now there are two screws up here actually holding it in. Okay, one thing I am wondering is there's a steering wheel can still be on here, but we'll try just moving it back. Should be fine. Okay, there should be a multi-plug, or several. So I can feel a speedo cable back here. Try and undo that. Yeah, everything is very, very much stuck on there, but let's see if we can get some multi-plugs. Can trace the wiring back here. Seems to be just one loom, and that's disconnected. So now it's actually just the speedo cable. Yeah, I'll need some pliers and I'll get that off, get this dash out, or this binnacle out, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Got the instruments out. The next thing I want to do, oh yeah, and I also removed just this panel here. The next thing I want to do is remove the glove box, the inner lining, and most screws were already out of it. Just two rusty screws up here that were still in it. So that's also one thing I probably need to try and get hold of a bunch of new screws when I put all this back together, but this should just slide out like that. And I'll bring you guys in for a closer look, but there's really only like two mounting nuts. There's one inside the binnacle. I just undid that before, and one out here on the side. I've done that one. So here I should be able to find the same one up in here somewhere. And then there should be one back here also. So yeah, there's one back here, and I'm gonna have to get a flashlight, find that one up in there, and show you guys that one. It's gonna be very, very hard to see, but right up in there, so right behind here, you got one nut to undo there, and then there's a bolt up in here, which, yeah, it's sitting right behind where my finger is in there. Sorry, but it's very hard to film that. And I already removed it on the other side, so it's that right in there. Hopefully you can see that. And the other one was on the other side as well. So I'll undo those now, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Okay, this thing should be coming out now. I've loosened everything. And it's the moment of truth. How rotten is the car behind this? So I'm gonna try and put this up here. Once again, this would probably be easier to deal with the seats in the car. Come on. It has to just come past this panel here, which when I put it back together, I think I'll remove that, but okay, there we go. And now this is how far we've gotten. So I think, you know what, we'll remove the steering wheel, make this pretty easy. It's just 2 screws here on the back, this pad comes off, and then a big nut in the middle, and then the whole dash should come out. Alright, the 1 screw is missing on that side, so that's why nothing was happening. And let's move it this way a little bit so we can try and see what's going on. There was that, and that knocked over all my parts, so that's really nice. And let's put it back. This way is somewhat the way it was, like that. Here, if you're wondering, this is a rod that goes in the middle, and that's for your horn. So the horn has a contact here, it sits on there, and this whole thing is soft. And then there's a big nut in there, so I'm going to get a socket for that, and then it should just pull out. There we go, that should be the correct socket. And let's see how tight this thing is. Not too bad. And I will be putting the wheel on straight away so that I can steer the car, but it will be coming off later when we do the interior to re-dye this black leather on it, which is really nice, and clean up the rest of it. So I like to keep a couple threads on, and then you give it sort of a yank to try and get it to loosen up. It's starting to come loose now. There we go. And got some washers and things in there. I am just going to put those right on there. Put that back so I don't lose it. Let me just get the steering wheel out of the way, and then the dash should be coming out. think we'll bring that down into first. And we've got some wires over here. And they are for the courtesy lights, which is all quite broken in here. Let's see if we can get them out of here. For that side, we're going to have to do the same thing on the other side. Everything's really brittle, but I did manage to just pull that down, and I am just going to do, if my phone will allow me, just take a picture of that. And we'll try and disconnect it. The light holder on the other side is a little bit broken, but this one is pretty okay, I think. It'll just need the glass, but I do have that. Okay, now everything should be loose. Just give it one more shot. Okay, let's see if we can get out now. And we have a couple wires over here. That was just the temperature sensor for the climate control. And now with the dash is out, looks to be in pretty good condition still. The only thing I found is, all this metal backing has a little bit of surface rust on it. Not like it's, structurally weak or anything, but I think I will try and treat all of that and paint a little bit with some anti-corrosion paint just to not make it worse. The good thing is I found this on the floor when I took it out. It sort of fell out, and that is the little rubber thing that sits on top of here. Or, yeah, I'll put it on properly later. But that's really good because that was missing. So found that. And other than that, over here, I just put the dials. And I noticed one thing is we got quite a bit of oxidation over here. But none of the traces seem to be broken. So I think I can clean that up and possibly sort of glue this together. And it's all very, very delicate. But should be fine. No traces look burned or anything. There's been some oxidation in here, but I really think we can clean all that up. And all the little dials were working when we started it. Everything was working, and the tack was working as well. So I think that is a very good start. Getting ready to take the screen out. I've already cut all the old rubber around it, and if you watched me for a while, we've done this a couple of times before. So, yeah, I didn't want to bore you guys with that. If you want to know how to remove one of these, I already have two videos. One on a XJ6 and one on the 66S type. There we go. I'm going to go put that somewhere safe. After a lot of careful cutting, it's starting to come away. I ended up also cutting underneath because it feels like there was a little bit of sealant under here, or maybe just that the rubber has really gotten stuck to it, but I need to get the knife under there and cut it up as well. And yeah, and there's a bead up here of sealant, which is a really good idea. You really need to put sealant around these screens to get them to seal. I think some of that has gone onto this and just made it a little bit more difficult to remove, but slowly but surely we're getting there. Being really, really gentle so we don't buckle or bend this piece of trim. Come on, this should be the last of it. And that's removed. We'll put that somewhere safe. And now it's just a matter of cutting the seal out and getting that screen out. This would be a great time to have an assistant, one person out here catching the screen, one person pushing from the inside. But I'm working alone, a lot of you guys are as well. So I use tape just to make a loop like this, so that I can push the screen out against the tape to get it loose, and then I can hopefully pry it out with my fingers. But depending on how much sealant they use, this thing could be really stuck in there. That was really nice and loose, actually. So I actually think that we can remove the tape, but it's a good safety thing. You never know. And I have disconnected the cables for the heated rear screen before I removed it. So I'll put this somewhere safe as well. And yeah, let's just remove the rest of that screen. I'll bring you guys in for a closer look and we'll see how much rust we find. Let's start with this side. And honestly, not too bad. We have this that we found outside before, but there's nothing on the edge. I removed the sound deadening nose up here, and there's a bit of surface rust here, and sort of this paint or sound deadening material coming away, but really not too bad. The other side is a little bit worse, but I've seen far worse on XJ-S's. So we got that there, but it's very solid underneath, so that's most likely just surface rust, maybe a hole or something there. But here we have, let me show you guys here. You have a little bit right there. Once again, I will talk to my welder and see if he wants to just put a little patch in there, or if it's still strong enough and not have to do anything about it, just because it seems very solid in there. But overall, this could have been a lot worse, but I am glad I removed it. Now it's time for the headliner. You can see it's green down here, so there's some moss in it. So it's definitely going to have to be redone, and we're going to remove it now before any welding starts. That will actually be it for this video. I do have some more things to remove, but I'll do that when this thing is down in storage. I'll probably do it off camera. We're going to do the headliner, but there'll be a video putting a new one in, so taking out is just really ripping it down. And I'm just going to remove some things like the rear lenses, so nothing really that special. The reason I'm in a little bit of a hurry now is because I said it's going to be nice weather this upcoming weekend. However, it's going to rain every single day up until then. And if you know my workshop and location, it's a bit of a hill up here and there's grass out here, and that gets extremely slippery when it's rained the amount it has now. It's been a really rainy winter. So I want to move this thing out of here before that happens and move the other car that needs to go in here instead, move things around. So I'm going to hurry up and do that now before the rains. And next time you see this car, we will be putting it up on a trailer or on a transport truck, getting it to the new workshop. I will join the ride along in the truck, and when we come there, we'll bring it into his workshop and have a look and see what he thinks of it, and see if he thinks it will be hopefully a pretty straightforward job to fix the rust and the paint issues on this car. Anyways, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. If you want to follow along this project, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, and it really does help out a lot. Until next time, I'm Adam. This was Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.